In this video, we're going to see how to write linear equations when given 2 points, and we're going to do that in all 3 of our different forms, okay? So we're going to be following a progression. So I show my students it as the acronym Smelly People Should Shower, SPSS, and stands for finding the slope first, then put it into point slope, then slope intercept, and then standard, okay? That's the order that we're going to do it in. So when given our 2 points, we're going to go ahead and start by finding the slope. So we're going to use our slope formula written right here. And we can do y2, which is 5, minus a negative 5, which is just plus 5, and then 6 minus 2. So we end up getting 10 over 4, which can simplify to 5 over 2. So that's our slope, 5 over 2. We're now going to go ahead and, since we have a slope and we have a point, we actually have 2 points, we're going to put it into point slope form. So you have to go ahead and pick one of your points. Both of them, or each of them will work. We're going to go ahead and start with 1. So we're going to do y minus a negative 5, so that's plus 5, equals 5 halves x minus 2. All right, so this is point slope form using your 1 point. All right, so this is your final answer if it were asking you to put in a point slope form. We're going to go ahead and do each of the progressions down to slope, intercept, and standard, but if it were asking for point slope form, this could be a final answer. The other options, you could use the point 6 and 5. So we can go ahead and do that one as well. 6 minus 5 equals 5 halves times the quantity of x minus 6. Okay, so here's your other option. This is also an acceptable point slope answer. I'm going to go ahead and solve each of them down to slope-intercept form so that we can see that both of them will in fact work. So the first step to get from point slope form to slope-intercept form is that we have to distribute, and then we're going to isolate y. So because you'll notice in slope-intercept form, y is by itself. So we're going to distribute first. This ends up being 5 halves x, and these multiplied together, our 2's cancel out, and it becomes negative 5. And then here we have to subtract by 5. So we end up getting y is equal to 5 halves x minus 10. We could do it on this side as well. We want to distribute first, so we have 5 halves x, and this would end up being, so it's going to be negative, positive times negative, and then 5 times 6 is 30 over 2, or it just can be simplified to negative 15. Y minus 5, and then we want to go ahead and add 5. So this simplifies to y equals 5 halves x minus 10 as well. So notice how these are both the same answer. Either of these using point slope form will get you to the same answer. All right, so the last step is we want to go ahead and bring this into standard. I'm just going to work from one side now. So you'll notice in standard form, the most important thing is that our x values are on the same side as our y values. So right here we have x over here. We want to move it over to that side. And the way we're going to do that is subtract 5 halves x. We're going to do it over here as well. Let's be sure to keep our x's in front, because you'll notice x is in front in standard form. So here it goes away, and we end up getting negative 5 halves x plus y, this is a positive y plus y, equals negative 10. All right, so now there's 2, so this is in the right order. We have x's first, then our y's, and then our constant numbers, okay? We have to make sure that we follow 2 specific rules for standard form, all right? The first rule is that we are not allowed to have a negative a value, so this leading number up here cannot be negative. The other rule is that we cannot have any fractions, all right? So we have to get rid of our negative symbol, we can multiply the entire thing by negative 1, and that's going to go ahead and switch all of our signs. So this would become 5 halves x minus y equals a positive 10. And then now we have to follow our other rule. Our other rule says that we cannot have a fraction. So we're going to go ahead and multiply by the denominator. If there were multiple fractions, we're going to multiply by the common denominator, but in this case it's just 1. So we're going to multiply by 2. And when we do so, this becomes just 5x, this becomes negative 2y, and this becomes 20. And this right here would be your answer in standard form. You have ax plus by equals c, and you have no negative a value and no fractions anywhere, okay? So here is every single form written from these 2 points. You have point-slope form. Notice we have 2 different answers for here. Slope-intercept form, it'll get to the same answer. And then we have standard, making sure to follow our 2 rules.